Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pokemon Legends Arceus. We were on a quest to hunt for a lost person, and we found them. So, dynamic entry.
Okay, I'm gonna mention I think Ursaluna is easily the lamest and least fun Pokemon to use, like to ride on in the
Agreed.
game. It's
To ride on. Okay. I was gonna say, like, wait, what does ride on have to do with this? They should have let you ride on a ride on. Just as a joke.
They might let you in. No, they're more likely to let you ride on Rhyhorn, ironically enough, because it's quadrupedal. Also, I want to point out because I've not seen nearly enough outrage about this, and so I need to be outraged, because if I'm not going to do it, who will? Pokken needed to have more quadrupedal Pokemon on the roster. I know that I'm the only person who cares about Pokken in the year 2023, but god damn it, it's like that's the cool part of doing a Pokemon fighting game, is like to see all the different Pokemon have different, like movesets and stuff, and like how do you make Venusaur have a fighting game moveset and whatnot. Like, that's the cool part. And tell me, if this is supposed to be a Pokemon, like a Tekken crossover, why isn't there a Ditto character that functions just like the Wood Doll from Tekken happened? This is Namco, hire me.
Or a Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
I really don't see the Tekken and Pokken. Because like it really just plays and presents itself far more like Naruto fucking Ultimate Ninja Storm.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really play like Tekken at all. Like Pikachu does the Heihachi pose at one point.
How do you get a Pikachu to do the Heihachi pose?
Like when you win a fight with the Pikachu, he like crosses his arms and like sneers.
How do you get a Pikachu to cross their arms?
Listen, I don't know. I'm not a biology expert, but I'm just saying Pokken had a lot of promise, and it just like, well, for one thing, the story mode sucked.
Everything looks like it's made of some sort of clay ooze, and like I really don't like that art style.
Yeah, it looks weird, but I'm just saying, like, one of the cool things about doing a fighting game would be like seeing like, oh, how do you make a moveset for Porygon? Or like
to be honest, like the crossover fail in Pokken is like every bit as strong as the crossover fail in fucking Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but nobody gave it half as much shit.
Well, Tokyo Mirage Sessions isn't really even a crossover. It's just a Shin Megami. It's just
meeting
a Fire
of
Emblem.
ideas.
It's just a Fire Emblem inspired Persona game, is all that it is. So.
Yeah, I know, but like they marketed it in the early days as a Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei crossover. It's just nah.
Tokyo Mirage. Was that the Wii U?
Yeah,
game?
it's the Wii U game.
The Wii U game. The Wii U game with the vagina.
Yeah,
bones.
the missing vagina bones.
Yeah, that's vagina.
Yeah.
The best thing Tokyo Mirage Sessions did was make Fire Emblem Engage look like a really horrible concept because Tokyo Mirage Sessions already existed. Which is funny because Engage is actually pretty good. But it just made that game look like a spin-off because we already had a very similar concept as a spin-off.
Yeah, I mean, Tokyo Mirage Sessions at the very least has the distinction of very much doing its own thing. So like if you don't care for it, it's very ignorable. I mean, I should still try it at some point, but I've just not been in a Fire Emblem mood for a while. So.
It's a fine enough game, and it's not a Fire Emblem mood you need to be in. It's a Persona mood.
I mean, I'd also need to be in the mood for like that mythos and whatnot because,
I mean, the Fire Emblem characters are really just tokusatsu transformations, so
man, but it's like, yeah, Fire Emblem, it's weird. I just have not been, I think we talked about this last session, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. Like, I think I need to be in a particular mood just because the games haven't really caught my attention lately. And like if I'm wanting to play one, I think I'd most likely just replay Awakening because I'm a basic bitch. It's like, oh, I don't need to play any of the other games. I can replay Final Fantasy VII you know.
There's no shame in replaying Awakening. Awakening's good shit.
If you talk to some members of the fan base, it ruined the franchise.
Well, don't talk to them.
Look, okay? We live on Twitter, ignoring like a bunch of people with really simplistic worldviews is basically how we remain in oxygen. Okay?
Listen,
We would
I love
suffocate
ignoring
otherwise.
people on Twitter. Favorite thing to do on Twitter is muting words I don't want to hear about. I muted Sora, Kingdom Hearts, Donald, Goofy for like 3 months after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and I was a happier person for it. It's like you guys enjoy Kingdom Hearts. I'm happy for you. I don't want to hear about it. I'm just going to mute all that and pretend it doesn't exist.
I feel like muting the word goofy would catch some false positives, though.
Nah, worth it.
It's like you could probably just stop at Donald.
Yeah, but
Okay.
then at that point, I'm not going to know the news that, President Donald Trump just ran over 12 babies in the street, polling results among Republicans up 20%.
You say that as if less Donald Trump news in your life is a bad thing.
Listen, if World War III starts, I need to know so I can find a bunker, all right?
You're not going to find a bunker. Vault tech hasn't been invented yet.
Fuck, man. You know, it's a harsh time when you're like, fuck, I wish I lived in the Fallout universe.
No, you don't, because Vault tech are assholes. You don't want to be relying on them for your post-apocalyptic survival.
What's my other option?
Well, with Vault Tech, it was kind of a lottery. Maybe you'd end up in a vault that, survived, or maybe you'd end up in a vault that used all of its denizens as part of some wacky social experiment.
Oh man, the government using people that can't say anything about it as a social experiment.
It wasn't even the government. Vault Tech is a fucking private corporation. They were just assholes. The Fallout universe is like intentionally twisted. Like one of the first things you see in Fallout 1 is the United States annexing Canada and like talking about how patriotic their soldiers are while the television shows some heavy armored soldier laughing as he kicks and executes a Canadian soldier. It's like, this world kind of deserved to blow itself up. So no, you don't want to live in the Fallout universe, before or after. It's just not a good place to be.
Oh,
Excellent
okay.
video game
Actually,
series,
to
though.
bring up Pokemon for half a minute, I remember that Gen 4 really loved gimmicks like these guys, the Burmese, that changed color and type depending on what location you found them. And there's a lot of stuff like that. There's like the blue and pink water guys, whose name I don't remember. The black and
Is that like the dancing bird from Scarlet and Violet, where like there are different colored
yeah,
versions?
those are from Gen 7, I think, where there's like 4 different flower patches on each of the islands, and you get like a different color and type. And like, I guess my thoughts to you guys are, how much do you like that stuff being different forms of the same Pokemon versus something like Gen 1 where neither and female and male are just different Pokemon altogether?
Well,
like, where on the spectrum do you lie on that?
I'd rather it be different forms of the same Pokemon because that's less Pokedex completion.
It kind of
That's
is,
one way
yeah.
to look at it.
But like making different forms of the same Pokemon allows them to essentially squeeze more variety out of a single Pokemon. They don't have to do as much design work, and the Pokemon themselves can have a fairly similar statistical balance to each other. So you get effectively 3 Pokemon, but it's also one Pokemon that has like the same general statistical considerations. Oh, this did not work out in your favor, Ryan. This is not where you want to be, Ryan. You're gonna get eaten by an Onyx.
Yeah. I mean, so Onyx is like one of those Pokemon that looks way more intimidating than it actually does. If you actually try to use it, Onyx kind of sucks.
Yeah,
unfortunately. Like, I think it has something like a base 180 defense or some nonsense, but its attacks like base 60. So it just like can't hurt anything. So it's just sitting there like menacingly.
Isn't the thing about Onyx, or at least in the original Gen 1 version, wasn't the thing about Onyx that it had like an absolutely shit special stat?
Yeah, well, I mean, in the original game, most physical aimed Pokemon had a shit special stat. That's part of why psychics were so good, because some psychics, like, because special didn't split into special defense and special offense, there was just special. Special Pokemon there were some examples of special Pokemon with decent defense, not good, but decent defense and high special, which meant they were good attackers and defenders, versus stuff like Onyx, who's meant to be just a tank. Because it has bad special in general, it doesn't tank against any of its weaknesses, because you just use Surf or Giga Drain on it and it just dies. It's like, oh wow, the fact that it has 180 defense doesn't mean anything now, does it?
The thing that made Onyx such a pain in the ass was that you encountered it so early in the game.
Yeah, like if you have, well, I mean, if you're playing against as Charmander, I guess it's a pain.
If you're playing as Charmander, your only like really good way of damaging it was, oh no, you're just gonna try and brute force your way through its shit special attack, through its shit special stat with your fire.
Yeah, but it's resistant anyway, so it's like, yeah, thanks. I mean, the way that I always did it as a kid, if I ever picked Charmander, was I raised up a Butterfree and used Confusion. But even that's playing with fire, because Butterfree's bug flying, so it's 4 times weak to rock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the space-time bubbles. Oh, we're in the orb. We're in the Vegas orb. Oh man, isn't that topical?
Simply beautiful.
What is it? What is the Vegas orb? I've just seen it and I don't understand what it is.
I don't even know what you're talking about, dude.
There's this orb in Vegas that looks like it dropped out of a sci-fi movie. And I don't know why it exists.
See, the only version of Vegas I care about is New Vegas, and I'm pretty sure the orb got blown up.
Which reminds me of a Fallout story.
Where is New Vegas?
It is called the MSG sphere. I don't know what.
Oh,
the
so are
MSG
people
stands
gonna
for,
like make racist comments about it and about the food there or something?
MSG?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was kind of a slow burn. For me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get too cerebral on you.
But it's basically a 360-degree like projector. A projection screen, essentially.
So it's like IMAX, but more?
It's basically a theater ball.
A theater ball? Oh, so
I mean,
what
that's
we're
the best
saying
way I
is
can
that
put it.
we should have theater. Theater should be an experience because we should be able to go to the theaters and sit in a theater ball and watch things in the orb.
Yeah, now shut up and watch the ball. Dude, you know what's possible now? We can actually have those fucking Revenge of the Sith bubble shows.
I mean, yeah,
Oh my
that would be
God.
interesting. But, like, I
Have
think
you ever heard of the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
this kind of sounds... Well, yeah, I have. I have that novel,
It's not a
actually.
story Warner Brothers would tell you.
It's not a story Disney would tell you, but there is a novel called Darth Plagueis, and it's actually really good. So I suggest that you actually, read the tragedy of Darth Plagueis.
Like the
Wise.
actual source material. Yeah.
Is Darth Plagueis was like one of the Sith that wasn't a dick, right? If I remember correctly.
Oh, he was absolutely a dick. He was just a more cerebral dick than you're used to. He was a scientist, weirdly enough. So, like, also he was immune. The Mune are, like, one of the weirder looking aliens in Star Wars, like...
You said immune, and I was like, is there a plague in the Star Wars universe I don't know about?
His
Actually,
name is
now that I'm thinking
Plagueis.
about it, nobody in Star Wars ever gets sick. Which is also, how do you spell Mune for Star Wars?
Mune?
Yeah.
M-U-U-N. Pretty much exactly the way you would expect it to be spelled. But like, it's one of those aliens that has like a really tall head. So
forehead douche. The guy from the Jedi Council who nobody likes.
no, not that one. No. I mean, there is that one, but that's a different kind of tall head. I mean, like, his head is, by human proportions, it looks vertically stretched, so that, like, he's got, like, a big vertically tall head, but his eyes are high up and his mouth is down low. And, like, there's a pointed nose in the middle. The Mune are the banking clan. They show up briefly in the prequels as part of the Separatists, but they never get much attention.
That's because making an entire race of aliens or magical creatures to just be the banking clan is usually kind of a anti-Semitic dog whistle.
Well, I mean, they already have the Trade Federation, so it's a bit redundant too.
I mean that too, yeah, but it's just like usually not good when it's just like these people run the banks and they're actually evil. It's like, oh, that sounds an awful lot like something that happens in real life that people stereotype an ethnic group for. It's like,
but in any case, Darth Plagueis, the novel, is really good because, like, it's a full novel that's basically from Plagueis' point of view. It's
how
like
does
this
he
character,
use the midichlorians to create life?
because he's a scientist and he just wants to be immortal.
Oh, that's boring.
Are you a Sith? No, ma'am, I'm a scientist.
Well, like, it's just interesting to see to get the perspective of a Force-using character who is primarily focused on science rather than mysticism.
I mean, it's interesting. I know that, like, the fact that the Force wasn't all mystic was something that fans really lashed out against, but it's not something that I have, like, I think it would be interesting if they, developed it a little bit more for sure.
Well, part of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise is that he was kind of wrong to view the Force as entirely scientific, but you see, that's a case of the expanded universe correcting for something that the actual prequel movies didn't flesh out enough, which is a running theme with the expanded universe in the prequel era.
It's interesting when I think about it, though, because part of Star Wars is like it's like caught between two points where the movies generally handwave stuff so that you can just get to the good part, but part of it, and then the side stories have to just basically explain everything because needy fans need to know, like.
In the case of the prequels, though, the main problem is that George Lucas told us the prologue in The Phantom Menace and the beginning in Attack of the Clones and the end in Revenge of the Sith without much middle to the story, which is kind of why
Midichlorian of the story.
Well,
sorry,
John, go to your room.
I'm already in my room.
Fuck.
Like, nowadays, people can really appreciate the story arc of the prequel era because we have so much additional middle story material by way of novels and the Clone Wars and all of that. Like, Anakin Skywalker is a completely different character to us now that we have more than just him being a whiny teenager in Attack of the Clones and an angry teenager in Revenge of the Sith.
Wait, is he still a teenager by Revenge of the Sith? I always took it like he was.
He acts like one.
It is like okay, but
I mean, it's a 3-year gap or so. So I think he's like technically a young adult, but like,
hold on.
It's
how old is Anakin in Star Wars? Anakin's 22 years old.
But it's not just Anakin's character that gets improved. Like, there's this whole story arc with the Jedi Order and the Republic not being what they used to be. And the prequel movies barely touch on it. But, now that we have all these novels and Clone Wars episodes and all of that shit, the full decline is on display. or at least it was before Disney decanonized half of it and then recanonized a quarter of it because they realized they needed to keep some of it around.
Without this, we're nothing.
It's just like, you know, it's a much more satisfying overall story arc is what I'm saying, basically. But, you know, if you were to just take the prequel movies by themselves, there are some pretty big holes in what they gave us.
I forgot that the space-time bubbles were less exciting than I remembered.
The space-time bubbles are just like random encounters without a random encounter system. It's like, you know, we got an Eevee, we got a fucking whatever that bug thing is, and we have a Shinx for no reason.
Heracross? Love Heracross. So, like, I like the idea of, like, you can find Pokemon that you don't normally find in this area or time period. Like, because you can randomly find, like, Porygon and shit. That's neat. Problem is that they just usually spawn Pokemon that are normally in the game anyway. So it's like, what's the point?
I mean, we had a Porygon 2 a little while ago. That was neat.
Yeah, but it's like, these guys are all in this area. So, like, why are we spawning Drifblims and Luxrays?
I don't know. Waste a fucking ton, though.
You see, this game is also incredibly inaccurate where you're going into the tall grass to hide from Pokemon. I want a refund.
Don't go into the tall grass. That's where the Pokemon will attack you. What the?
Oh, wait.
Bug.
Never mind.
Bug. Bug. Random bug. Just like right
that's kind
behind
of the
you.
feeling I have whenever I just see a dragonfly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Like, I was at the gas station in my car, and I just looked out the window to check the gas as it was filling up, and there was a fucking spider web on my mirror on the driver's side door, and the spider was just crawling along the web, big ass spider, and I'm like,
How long were you at the gas station?
I know. It was apparently a spider web that had a spider made there because my car was sitting out front, unused for half a week. But like, there was a spider hiding inside the mirror.
I had a spider hide inside my mirror too, once. But we used that car every day, so I don't know why he didn't leave, but whatever.
Because the mirror blocks the airflow when you're driving, so it doesn't need to go anywhere. And you'd be surprised how resilient that web is to the wind.